this morning is written by Swami Ananda entitled Lift Your Hearts, from his Oratory of Christ. Lift your hearts up to the Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Spread the news that He is joy.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Sing in the mountains, sing in the meadows, sing hallelujah, God is joy. Lift your hearts up to the Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Spread the news that He is true.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Sing in the mountains, sing in the meadows, sing hallelujah, God is true. Lift your hearts up to the Lord. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Spread the news that He is love. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Sing in the mountains, sing in the meadows, sing hallelujah, God is love. Sing in the mountains, sing in the meadows, sing hallelujah, God is love.
Good morning. This week's reading is taken from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Ananda. This is week 10, Dogmatism versus Common Sense. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 7, Jesus warns, "Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Wherefore by their fruits ye shall know them." Jesus here, as indeed many times during his teaching, counsels people to use their God-given common sense and not to rely on high-flown but undemonstrable claims. Common sense goes beyond abstract reason, for it is rooted in actual experience. Even common sense, however, is deficient when the judgment called for goes beyond sensory experience. Ultimately, what he emphasized always, therefore, was intuitive perception. Thus, he expected more of his disciples than crude common sense, and often scolded them for being too literal-minded, as he did elsewhere when they thought his statement, "I have meat to eat that you know not of," meant that he had steaks or sandwiches secreted about his person. His reference, of course, was to spiritual, not material substance. Words, even though appearing in the scriptures, are no substitute for direct perception of truth. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita says in the 2nd chapter, "The sage who knows God has as little need for the scriptures as one might have for a pond when the whole land is covered in flood." Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om.
Good morning, everyone. I am Nayaswami Maria. This is Nayaswami Parvati. And it's a joy for us to have had and to have the opportunity to have been up here the last couple of days and for this service today and Kriya and on. And it's beautiful to be with you all and just to feel your spiritual depth and your divine friendship. So thank you. I'd like to begin with a reading from Yogananda's Whispers from Eternity, an all-time favorite. Here we go. Make us a lion of thy all-conquering wisdom. I, a lion cub of the Divine Mother, found myself thrown into life among the sheep of human frailties, of fear, of failure and disease. Living long among them, I learned to bleat with weakness, forgetting my lion nature and its roars, which could frighten away all petty, pestering sorrows. O lion of realization, thou didst drag me away from those bleating sheep to the mere smooth waters of meditation. There didst thou cry, gaze! But I held my eyes tightly shut, bleeding with fear. Thy roar of wisdom then reverberated through my body. Thou madest me by handshaking, hard shaking, and spiritual urging, open my eyes, and there, lo, in the crystal pool of my inner peace, I saw my features to be even as thine own. Now I know myself as the lion of cosmic power. I will bleat no more with fear, weakness, and suffering, for I roar now with vibrant, almighty power. I bound about through the forest of all experiences, seizing little creatures of vexing worries, timid fears, and wild hyenas of disbelief, devouring them ruthlessly. Fantastic. O lion of immortality, roar through me thy all-conquering power of wisdom. Okay, I do want this and I don't want to forget it. I'm just going to set it there. Oh, okay. All right. So our subject today is dogma and common sense. I was going to go somewhere else, but okay. All righty. But I wanted to start with, yesterday was Yogananda's Mahasamadhi, and I did want to share some about that. You know, you don't remember the details all the time, and it's beautiful to be reminded. The Mahasamadhi, I don't know if there's anyone here new. I don't know everyone well enough, but this is the conscious exit of a great master, you know, one who doesn't wait for death to claim life, but who comes and goes at the divine behest. And Yogananda's Mahasamadhi, the anniversary was yesterday, March 7th, 1952. And this took place at the Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles. And it was an event, outwardly, the bigger picture was this event to welcome the ambassador, Ambassador Sen from India. This was the Indian ambassador to America. And Divine Mother told Yogananda in his life that India would be freed in his life by peaceful means. She didn't say when, or at least that wasn't reported. But it did, of course, as we know, happen by and by. And so it was some time after this, and there was an American ambassador from India. And so he was coming, and this was his first visit to America. And it was a big deal. And the Attorney General of California at the time, Dr. Ahuja, had arranged this event. And Yogananda would be there presiding, and the senator, and there were days surrounding that visit. Dr. Ahuja said to Yogananda, you know, ambassadors come and go. You are the real ambassador from India, because he brought the teachings, the universal, timeless teachings that we equate with India, but these are the teachings of the soul seeking realization and reclaiming the spiritual life within. And so that day, a lot of hustle and bustle. And Yogananda had prophesized in a veiled form. He gave a lot of hints that he was going to go. And looking back, they sometimes look rather specific, but there was that veil, and people really didn't, necessarily put that all together. He would say about that day, "Wish me luck. I've got a big appointment in March." And people by and large thought that that was this event, pretty much. And it was a big event. It was a big event. So a room was rented at the Biltmore for Yogananda. And someone said, "Will you be staying here tonight?" And he said, No, I will not be staying here tonight. Just left it at that. It was a real busy day for him, a long day for him. And he had some different physical things going on, just karmically absorbing those remaining little snippets from the disciples, holding that for them. And it was physically challenging for him at that time of his life, but it was a full day. And one of the places he went to was the Lake Shrine in Southern California, and he walked around, and he had thoughts and concerns and just admiration for the beauty and loveliness. And he spent time with many of the disciples that day, and he chanted for over an hour. He played the chant, "Light the Lamp of Thy Love," there in the chapel at the Lake Shrine in Pacific Palisades. And so he gets to the Biltmore, and he goes up to the room, and it's just this complete circle, because he said that's where he started when he came to LA. He stayed there for some months at the Biltmore and giving classes, and as he gazed out the window, he commented, because he spoke at the Philharmonic Auditorium, and crowds, thousands came. They couldn't all fit in. And just you could see the line of people down the street and around the block, and he just saw all that again. And he said, "Babaji told me it would be like this." And he spoke of East and West and the unity and the gift of India and the gift of America and this blending in divine spirituality. He oftentimes said, "A heart attack is the best way to go. That's what I choose." He didn't want to die in his sleep peacefully. He said, "I want to die with my boots on." And it makes perfect sense. You look at his life and just the activity outwardly in service to students and disciples, but all humankind, the whole planet, just a lot of outward service. And it's the way he came in, and it's the way he wanted to leave. And so he spoke of India. And Swami Kriyananda was there. Master had asked him to accompany Dick Haynes, who was a famous actor and musician at the time, and also a disciple. Swami Kriyananda initiated him into Kriya Yoga. So Master asked them to be there, and the room was full and packed. And as Yogananda was speaking, he closed with reading his poem, "My India." And as he read the line, "Where Ganges woods, Himalayan caves, and men dream God, I am hallowed, my body touched that sod." And as he said that last word, he just slipped to the floor. And Swamiji was writing notes. Master told him, "Write down everything that I say. Sometimes I don't speak like this." And so Swamiji was writing down things, and Dick was next to him. And the crowd just sort of went, ah. And Swamiji looked up and he said, "What happened?" And Dick said he fainted. And Swami thought, no, he's gone. He's left us. And there it was, this beautiful incarnation. And, whether we, again, I don't know if there's someone new here, maybe this sounds odd, but I think what is important for us to take from the Mahasamadhi is something very practical, something that we can really employ on a daily level. And this is that divine consciousness inside of each one of us. We do not need to be defined by the times we live in. We do not need to be defined by the chaos or even the specific circumstances of our lives. We can't be indifferent. We can't be insensitive. But who we are is something altogether different than how other people see us, how we even see ourselves, in a given moment. And the Mahasamadhi, one of the teachings, one of the lessons is to go inside and explore and live in that reality and from that consciousness, no matter what we're doing. It's not important. It's really not that important what we're doing outwardly. I don't want to make little of the very great things that you all do. But it's just a way to move through our karma. It's just a way to be of service on this plane. And we're something much, much more than that. And so the Mahasamadhi, one of the lessons is this very service topic, to not be bound by dogma, to not even be defined or limited to common sense, which is a good thing, but still it is limiting. And to get into that awareness that is more intuitively anchored in the divine reality, in the consciousness of the masters. And that's what we explore, that's what we experience in meditation. This was the way Yogananda was taught. Yukteswar, they would read a few lines from the Gita, just a sentence or two. And then meditation, long periods of meditation. Yukteswar didn't even finish the book, didn't even get through, past the first few slokas, Now you have what you need to know. Really? But it's that intuitive awareness that we develop from going within, from meditation. This is so important. This is how Swamiji trained us. The first time I met him, I didn't know anything about the spiritual path. The path wasn't written. I hadn't read the autobiography. I knew nothing. But I knew. I just looked at Swamiji, hardly said anything. It was just a small gathering of people. It was on his birthday, 1976. And I just thought, this man knows more than anyone I'll ever meet in my life. More than I'll ever know. And it was because of just that inner attunement with higher consciousness. And this is how he trained us, It wasn't like, okay, you do that, you do this, you do that. There was so much more to it. My husband and I served in Sacramento for Ananda, Sacramento for 23 years. We were at Ananda 10 years before that. And one day Swamiji said, just seemingly out of the blue, 23 years. I think I've probably shared this story. I'm sure I have with you all. But he just said, I want you to go check out this land in Oregon. You could start a farm there, work with young people. And we came up. Someone wanted to give this land to Ananda. Well, we came up. We looked at it. South Central Oregon. It was a lava field. It was a lava flow. Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. You couldn't even break the crust with a trowel or a shovel. It just couldn't be done. We came back and we said, Swamiji, please, no. This isn't going to work. And he said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And he just left it and we just went back to our usual, and it was a great thing. We loved being in Sacramento, deep, deep souls, beautiful spiritual family. We had a wonderful life there. And after many months, I had this thought, I wonder what Swamiji is trying to do here. I wonder what we're supposed to be tuning into. And Ananda and I talked about it for quite a while, and we both thought together, well, let's just propose something. Let's find something, a land that can grow, and let's propose that and see what Swamiji says, just to make sure this is clean and finished, and that we understood here. And we did that. We proposed that, and Swamiji thought it was a great idea. And it's not what ultimately happened, but it's what allowed a movement of energy to occur. But he never said, this is what you need to do, or you didn't get it right, or, it was only way after. He said, this will be good. This will be good for you, spiritually. And so it's important, we have these masters, these guides in our lives, our guru, but it's really incumbent upon us to tune into that consciousness, to tune into the consciousness of the saints and the masters, in the body, out of the body. It doesn't really matter. They're bigger than that, and we can draw on that. We can tap into that. I remember some while back, not too long ago, and I had this dream, and Swamiji was sitting down, and he had a cup of tea, and he said, come visit me. And in the dream, I knew he'd left. I knew he wasn't in the body. And I was like, well, what does he mean, Is he in Italy? Is he in India? Or where am I supposed to go visit him? And I woke up, and it was very fresh in my consciousness, and I thought, okay, I've just been busy. I've been busy about other things. I've forgotten. I'm not keeping company. And, he said whenever he was with Master, whenever he was with him, whenever he was close to that dynamic spiritual magnetism, he said truth would just be revealed. It wasn't as though Master said anything specific, but clarity would come, understanding would come. What he thought, what Kriyananda said, it was true, and it was born always of that attunement with that divine reality, with that omnipresent consciousness that we can access at any moment. Yogananda says to meditate on the lives of the saints, meditate on the lives of the masters. So for Yogananda, that joyfulness, that wisdom, that devotion, that love, and try to hold that image of them, connect mentally with that image, whoever you're trying to tune into, and try to feel then those qualities in your heart. And let them just be there and become absorbed in whatever that quality is that you're trying to tune into, that you're trying to develop. And in this way, the saints, the masters, they talk to us. In this way, we commune with them. In this way, clarity comes into our consciousness, and the knowing that, whatever's going on, this is my divine reality. Nothing can take this away. No one can take this away. It is ever present. It is eternal. And this is our path. This is the gift of the Mahasamadhi, that we are inwardly free. We need not be bound. As Parvati said earlier this morning, we make trouble for ourselves, don't we? But it needn't be the case. We are free. I wanted to close with some words of Yogananda's. I, again, just thought this was appropriate, in particular to the Mahasamadhi, and just that omnipresence of the Master in our lives. This was in 1933, And it was a letter that he wrote. I'm not sure who it was to at the time. Well, obviously everybody, as you'll see. Everybody, all of you, all of us. To my friends in all lands and in all worlds, greetings and goodwill. Wherever you are, whoever you are, of whatever color, race, or creed, I send you my love and the pledge of my loyalty. You who for thousands of years, or for only a day, have worked and fought for justice, freedom, and truth. Receive my gratitude and devotion. You who dwell in palaces or hovels, in cities or jungles, in mansions or dungeons, if in your hearts there is the urge toward higher, better living and loftier ideals, believe me when I say I am your friend and that I count you blessed friends of mine. Many of you I have known in the past, and some of you I have never seen, but I think that in God's appointed time, I shall meet each one of you face to face and give you proof of my affection. However, it matters little that we are not together now, nor does it matter that time and space may separate us by almost infinite distances. The only thing that counts is that we are friends, working together in a common cause, the cause of righteousness and the expansion of the consciousness of the children of the Most High. Although I see you not, I often feel your presence near, or thrill with the noble thoughts which you send out to find their home in minds attuned to yours. Although you may never read the words which I am penning now, I declare to you that you shall feel the vibrations of tenderness and kindliness which emanate from me to all of you. Our work, our love, our purposes are one. March on, dear friends, to higher, brighter goals. Continue in your dreams of happier days and in your deeds of service to your kind. Protect the torch of faith from winds of doubt, and let no storm disturb your peace of mind. Farewell, dear friends of mine, until we meet. Thank you, and bless you all in his name.
morning, all. Happy Kriya weekend. Thank you, friends, for being here. It's been wonderful. So we're on the second side of the March calendar here. If you don't have one of these, you can pick one up at the front desk there. First of all, we invite you, please help us with all of the stuff we have in the clarity room over there. We had a lot of treats, blessed fruit from last night, and we'd love for you to stick around a little bit and enjoy and have some satsang with us. Also, at the very end of March here on our calendar, we have the Oratorio, which is our annual event of the beautiful music that we're sharing with you today, but the whole thing will be performed this year up in Seattle at the Seattle Temple. We're doing it actually at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning of the 29th, and we invite anyone who would like to come up and do that with us, be there with us to do that. If you are planning on going and you'd like housing to stay, please let us know because they will help arrange that for us. This week we have our drop-in yoga, our drop-in meditations on Tuesday and Wednesday. We also have the book study, which is still ongoing. We are not done with the book yet. It's the Light Bearer book. Asha gave us and gave the world recently. So we're working through. We are always open, what do I want to say? Always open to anybody coming in and joining us. It doesn't have to be a every single time thing. It's a lovely way to discuss the book together. And it's not, of course, not just about Swami, which is wonderful, but it's really the history of Ananda and all of the work and all of the beautiful things that have happened up to this point. So, yes. 1988, 1989. Come see what happened. What happened in 1988 and 1989. Of course, always, if you have questions, if you want to serve here at the temple, if you have anything to share, please let us know. We're so happy to have you with us.